Wait, there's something very weak coming through.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
Hello, fellow Galactic listeners. I'm Heather Allred, and this is WSTR Galactic Public Access, a Star Wars podcast. Welcome to episode 74. Today, we're going to continue our discussion about the review of Solo, a Star Wars story. Joining me in the discussion today is Mr. Aaron Julian.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Aaron. And of course, rounding us out is Mr. Todd Hoffman.
Hello, everybody.
You're going to steal my bit?
I am, yeah. That short bit, I took it. I had nothing original for today, so I just went with it.
You already stole my name. You misspelled it on the show notes.
Oh, well, see, you're the hooligan, so I just...
Oh, well.
Can't
get too upset.
Me. All right, well, check us out on social media at WSTR Media. Email us at mailbox@wstrmedia.com or leave us a voicemail at 630-557-WSTR, 630-557-9787. And you can check out our whole catalog of episodes at www.wstrmedia.com. So, as you may have heard historically, our podcast is brought to you by Audible. So get a free, F-R-E-E, free audiobook download.
Nothing's free today, Heather.
What?
Nothing.
No.
Yeah.
Except a free trial at audible.com.
That's right.
So yes, 30 days free trial, free audiobook download at Audible. I can't even say it. I've said it too many times.
Right,
audibletrial.com/WSTR. You've got access to over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, MP3 player. So free, F-R-E-E, audiobook download with a free 30-day trial just for our listeners of the WSTR podcast.
Listen, man,
What's up?
I could put myself in your place. You're there. You're on the 355. You're on the I-90, I-88, 240, 294, 405, whatever. It's miserable out there. People are dying. The traffic's insane.
Right.
Makes you want to run over your own head.
No.
But wait, there's a solution. Listen to our podcast. But wait, that's only an hour long. Well, with audible.com. I can't even keep a straight face. With Audible, you go there, get your free book, and you get to listen to it for hours and hours and hours. It'll relieve your boredom, make you see hope again in life. And hey, maybe you won't kill somebody else out on the freeway.
Yeah, we're
That's
trying.
right?
That's what we're trying to do. It's a humanitarian effort to not kill people on the highway.
Yes.
Yeah.
And hey, when if 30 days passes and your murderous rage has subsided,
yeah,
hey, you can go ahead and cancel with Audible, and they'll let you keep your free audiobook forever.
Forever.
It's yours.
It's crazy.
It's
And
madness.
they get to support our show by all just you signing up for a free trial. So hey, if you want to save the porgs, if you want to save the porgs, audibletrial.com/WSTR.
There we go. Wrap
There
that
you
up
go.
in a
There we go.
nutshell.
And now, our main topic.
And now for our feature presentation.
What is our main topic?
Yeah, what are we talking? Let's see.
Han Solo review part 2.
right.
Part 2.
So where did we
yeah.
leave off?
Well, we just went through the mining colony and the droid rebellion and all that.
No, we didn't.
And now,
No.
Oh, we didn't?
No,
That's not yet.
We're entering we're getting to the spice mines of Kessel. That's where we're at, man. You were.
So I was thinking the Kessel Run, but no,
Yeah.
we got to make a pit stop before the Kessel Run.
We have to literally we have to get to Kessel. So that's where we're at. That's where we're at.
That is
Yeah.
right. That is right.
Yeah.
WSTR, your most professional podcast.
I might have spelled your name wrong in the show notes, but at least I said Kessel, and you're like, oh, no, we're already past Kessel. No. We have to get to Kessel here. So when we left off, now we're like, week wiser. And so now this should be like really settled in. So now we're entering Kessel and it's a nebula. And so they have like these kind of cool beacons that kind of guide them through the nebula to get to Kessel. So it's like a slow progression, not very, when you say the Kessel Run, it's like, oh, this is kind of boring because they're just kind of slowly going into the nebula. But there's dangerous stuff in space.
Well, if they miss the mark, nobody will ever see them again.
Yeah, they go.
So kind of got to take it low and slow.
So they take it nice and slow. And then they finally get to Kessel. And it's kind of nasty, man. Like,
kind of gross. Bunch of bilge water.
Yeah. You could almost say like sulfur-ish or something. It seemed kind of got that vibe. And in fact, they took ideas from Ethiopia, the sulfurous yellow pools of Dalo, I think that's how you say it, in Ethiopia. Oh, there you go. So,
fun fact. Well, I don't know if that's a fun fact.
It's a fact. It's not an Easter egg. I'm not dropping any eggs today.
It's a fact. It's just a not so fun fact.
It's just a fact. Yeah. So, yeah, they land, and of course they have a plan. So, what's the plan, Aaron, as they leave the Millennium Falcon?
Well, they're going to do a little bait and switch with the whole prisoner situation. Just like the Death Star.
Right. This is true. Han and Chewie are in handcuffs. Are in handcuffs, and Kira comes out. I really like her outfit in this one. When she comes out, she's kind of got like this cape, but almost like a military thing going on. And L3 is behind her, but then behind the prisoners is Beckett in the Lando skiff outfit. What?
Just had it lying around.
Yeah. Not only does he have capes, but now we see the skiff outfit, so I thought that was
movie had a lot of little moments like that where they don't dwell on it too much, but it's like if you're in the know, they're like, yeah.
It's like wink, 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 Star Wars fan, wink, wink, wink.
Yep.
So and it's funny because in one of the screenshots, it was like Kira off the ramp and L3, and people were looking at it and like, oh, there's a skiff guard behind there, and they were right. Kudos. They got the Boba Fett ship wrong. It was just a rock, but this time it was true about the skiff guard. So yeah. So
you
now
know what they say about a broken clock. It's right twice a day.
Oh man. So now they're now we get to see a Pike, which this is one of my favorite characters to actually see like in live action. They were in the Clone Wars, but now we get to see them and it's like almost like a keymaster from like Matrix or something. Like just got a bunch of like chain things and just like gross things coming out of his mask. I just love
stuff is dripping.
Yeah. I love that. So yeah, that
was one of my favorite costumes of the movie.
Mm-hmm. So basically we are exchanging Han and Chewie for some coaxium. That's
seems
pretty
fair.
Convenient. Yeah, it's fair. It seems fair, right? 2 workers for some coaxium. So yeah, so they get into they're gonna go talk with the Pike, Really liked there's a couple guards inside, and they had kind of like the white, I don't know, like they had like a half helmet, with the goggles and the force pikes, I really liked those guys. I was like, oh, that's so Star Wars. They look pretty cool.
They look almost like samurai.
Yeah.
With the aprons and the boots and everything.
Yes. Yeah, they look cool. And they get into this kind of like control area. Beckett is set outside, and it's L3 and Kira with the pike in a separate room. And Han and Chewie are off to be miners, I guess, And this is where Bedlam happens.
So just to back up a bit, the Pikes.
Yes,
this is a crime syndicate.
They are not nice people. No, they're bad people. Yeah.
Okay, so we got the Black Sun, we got the Hutt cartel.
Yeah.
And now we have the Pike Syndicate.
Yes, the Pike Syndicate they're like suppliers of spice and narcotic substance mined by the slaves of the planet Kessel.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So they provide death sticks.
Death sticks. Would you like to buy some death sticks? Yeah, they are they're not nice people. They're just basically drug lords and slavers. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's them. Nice people. Good people. So,
they're narcos.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they're pretty much drug lords. I mean, again, like Jabba wasn't a nice guy. He's a gangster, so so this is the seedy underbelly that we get. And then so they're in the control room, and oh snap. Like literally Han and Chewie are in the elevator, and Chewie, we get to see the Wookiee rip somebody's arms off. Literally.
Which I believe Aaron had requested personally. So
yeah.
Yes. I was so pleased to see this.
Yes.
I'm like, man, Solo's just ticking all the boxes for me, aren't they?
No, not only was that awesome, but Solo's comments to Chewie was like, that was, that uniform was the right size, Yeah. In the very next scene, he's wearing a big frumpy outfit because, and that's what I like about it. It's like, it was practical, so like,
well, it's a good reversal because it's like things go well for the hero, right?
Yeah.
Like they kill their captors and they're able to escape.
Right.
But because it worked out well, they still have more challenges.
Yeah.
The outfit doesn't fit right. So
no, right.
I like when movies do that. Don't make it too easy on the hero.
Yeah. So Kira does some fancy maneuvers, and L3 says, "Whoa," and
you're so great at this plot summary.
So then they basically have to. They're trying to find the coaxium, and Beckett and L3 and Kira are guiding him to the coaxium. So Solo starts that process, and L3 also is trying to get everybody out. And when she does that, she starts liberating some droids.
Heather's favorite part of the movie.
No, like literally, I was like, when I was watching this, I'm like, oh my gosh, Heather is in heaven. This is like so awesome. I thought this scene was great. This is probably my only scene that I love about L3. Is this whole liberation part. What did you think, Heather?
You've got this droid who potentially has made an awkward first impression in the first half of the movie that we've talked about.
Yes.
Where you're not sure if you like her, but then she just starts liberating droids, and I swear you can see in the minds of the other droids, like, wait, what am I doing? I don't understand what you're telling me to do.
Yeah.
So I think that's to me what was really funny about it. She's like,
yes.
oh. Like you can see her eye roll and like sigh and then like take off the boot for lack of the
restraining bolt.
The restraining bolt. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I kept thinking of a boot on a car, and I'm like, that's not the same thing.
No,
well, same idea.
It's the same idea, though.
Yes.
And then just sort of like shake into life of like, oh, this is what we're doing. Okay. And
yeah.
I don't know, crazy droids. What's not to love?
Yeah, I thought that was a great scene. They're just like hitting all these buttons and everyone's getting out. And so now Solo's loading the coaxium as elegantly as he can.
Just wanted to add one thing.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Okay.
Where, he starts freeing all the child slaves from the mine, and they start revolting against their captors. So
very interesting.
Did George Lucas have a hand in Temple of Doom?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Little tip of the hat.
Oh no, we're going to tip of the hat now. Oh man. I wonder who wrote Temple of Doom.
It might have been good old Larry.
I mean, because the story's by George Lucas, but I don't know. Oh no, it wasn't. It was somebody else.
Dead air.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It was like Willard.
It was Willard Huyck
and Gloria Katz. Yeah.
Okay.
So moving on, but yeah, totally get that. And then, Bedlam breaks loose, and Chewie at this point hears other Wookiees and sees them, and Han's go after him. Yeah. So he gets electro staff, and Chewie's just owning people, man. He just goes in there, does a bunch of body slamming and force pikes.
He's the beast.
He's a beast, dude. And so he liberates some other Wookiees. So this is cool. We get to see some other Wookiees, which we haven't seen. And the other thing too, they're like skinnier and almost ape-like. That one guy looks almost very ape-like. But it's just like
because they're malnourished, because they've been working underground.
Yeah.
Equal rights for all species.
Okay, L3.
Sorry.
I'm surprised they didn't look mangy.
Yeah. Well, they were definitely like skinnier, not like your typical Wookiees like you saw in Revenge of the Sith,
Malnourished.
Yes. So, and now it's time to escape, and they're running, and dude, this is where it's like full blown, the Pike syndicate's trying to keep the slaves in line, and everyone's going crazy, and Wookiee and Chewie and his little Wookiee buddy helped get the Quaxium on board, and L3's running back, and oh man, what happens here?
Uh-oh.
Heather, what happened? What happened?
She gets hurt.
She gets hurt.
It's a little boo-boo.
Or, legitly damaged. However you want to look at it. But let's be honest. The best part of this scene with L3 getting damaged is Lando.
Oh, yeah.
And just his response. I think there's something that needs to be recognized, that when you have a human who's been connected to their droid, what that connection is. I mean, we see it with Poe and BB-8. It's there with Luke and R2.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
big ups to Lando for risking his life.
Yeah, he does like a slide and a hurdle, and he's blowing up people, and so he gets she gets kind of blown up. He tries to lift her up, and half her body stays on the ground. And he's coming back, and he gets pegged in the shoulder. Yep. And then Han jumps into action and it's like tries to save him and gets him going. And then Kira comes and yells and throws these like napalm grenades that like blow up everything. And this was kind of, we saw this in a trailer, but basically Chewie's like, I'm staying with my crew, and the other Wookiees went their way, which was kind of a like tender, sad moment, but like we don't really have much time to do anything. We got to get out of here,
Mm-hmm.
And so they get off the ship, and this is where it gets. So Han has to take the lead because Lando's trying to fix L3. L3 kind of.
You can say it. You can
bites
say
the
it.
Dust. Yeah,
she bites the dust. She dies.
Yeah, she dies. So that happens, and now Beckett's like, we got to get out of here. And so Han is now at the helm, which from this point on, this is where it's all awesome. So this is where we finally get to see the Kessel Run, and so they're getting chased by, like a big old Star Destroyer. This was in the trailer. This looked cool. All this, like, visually, I thought this was all very spectacular. What do you think, Aaron?
Well, it got me thinking about, I had remarked about in The Last Jedi how a lot of the space combat scenes seemed a lot more naval. And this certainly, this scene in particular definitely had that feel where it's kind of like, you got your fast smuggling ship, and then this huge, Navy destroyer with like 18 guns on each side. And I almost had the feeling like this is like a stormy sea, or where there's what in the world is it called? Like a whirlpool? And they got to like kind of like navigate it. Yeah,
I know what you mean.
And so they're after each other, but they're also contending with nature itself, in that they have to.
This also happened in Pirates.
This
also happened in the Pirates Caribbean movie, where they're all. Not the first one. I think it's like the second one or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
It's like Pirates 3, Davy Jones, whatever. Dead Men Tell No Davy Jones.
That's right.
Right, exactly. Totally get that. And so basically, this is probably my favorite part of the movie, is past the funny part where, 190 years old, you look great. The minute that like Chewie sits in the seats, that's like movie bliss for me. When like Han looks over, kind of gives a half smile, and they're just like, it's happening, I thought that was awesome. And so basically Han decides to kind of go off the buoys and just kind of goes and does his own thing. Obviously that's not a good idea, because Han doesn't think. There are two really good shots, and the first shot is like, it's completely black, and it's just a Falcon and the lights. It's like super darkness, but you kind of see that ominous thing in the foreground there, and I just love that shot. And then of course it has to be a huge tentacle monster, it's like so they kind of wake the Leviathan up from the whirlpool or whatever, and they find the black hole. And so, it's not good. So they got a big monster after him in the black hole. And so Han decides to eject the escape pod, and the monster goes after it. And the monster kind of gets stuck in the wormhole, the black hole there. So he ain't doing good. But then
he's not.
No, and then we get the classic like kind of tractor pull thing, where they're, or tractor beam, where they're getting pulled into the black hole thing, and then Beckett, they decide to use some of the coaxium, and Beckett does kind of like a MacGyver move and throws some coaxium right into the hyperdrive, and in classic Millennium Falcon, it doesn't work initially. I thought that was
basically like nitrous.
Yeah. And I thought that was a great
muscle car.
Yeah, I thought that was a great shot too. And then there's also a really cool shot. I don't know if this is like right before it, but like there's that like a real close up shot of his eyeball. I don't know why I love that shot. It's like almost anime-ish, in a sense. I don't know. I really like anything.
Eyeball?
What's Han Solo's? There's like a really tight shot of like his face and just his eye, as he's like.
Oh, I remember that. Okay, because I was still thinking Beckett, and I'm like, I don't remember that happening.
Yeah, I know. I'm rambling. I'm sorry, but it's like I just really like that shot. It's a very like anime-ish, and yeah. So then, at the very last second before they get eaten by the monster and the black hole, the Millennium Falcon jumps into hyperspace, and I thought that was a really cool shot.
Well, let's not forget, in order to make the calculations for the jump, they ended up uploading L3's consciousness, I guess, into the Millennium Falcon.
Droid brain.
Yep. So now it is one with the Falcon.
Yeah. Heather, what did you think about that?
I didn't dislike it. Yeah, no, I thought it made sense in the moment that they were in. I recently saw a meme on the good old social media that paralleled that with a scene from one of the original trilogy where they're talking about the interestingness that is the Millennium Falcon, and and so it's nice to kind of put those two pieces together. But yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to kind of see what they do with it in the future.
Yeah.
But I think I know I said that I loved L3 last episode, and I still do. But she's definitely a small dosage kind of droid. Like, take her in small doses. So
sure.
This is a great way for her to live on.
Yeah. That was Aaron. That's another tip of the hat.
That's the tips of the hat going on.
Yeah. So now they got.
Wonder why you're wearing a hat at all.
Right. Exactly. So now they are going to rendezvous with Voss on the planet Savareen. And this was filmed, I believe, on the Canary Islands, and it's got like nice little beach and coast.
Fuerteventura?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yes. Such a fun name to say.
Fuerteventura.
So then they arrive to the beach, and I love this little scene between Lando and Han as they kind of they come in hot. He's coming in hot. He lands the Falcon and is not looking how it left when they left on their little venture. And this is kind of like a pirate place to process the coaxium quickly. And so they're doing that. We get the little in joke, like, I just made the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs. And Chewie's like, no, you didn't. And Solo's like, well, if you round down. So I thought that was a nice little twist. And then the little interaction between Solo and Lando is fantastic. And he's like, I hate you. And he says, I know. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. So you get, I really like this because you get, this is, Aaron, this is where you get your Western vibe. This is a very Western scene. Outsiders coming into a town, and Beckett even says, I heard you got some good brandy. No one says anything. No one's saying nothing. And they're just kind of everyone's giving them the stink eye, and they're just waiting for it to process. And who shows up, Heather? Do you remember? You're looking at me like you don't remember.
I'm trying to make sure I remember the movie in its sequence.
I'll give you a
It's the rebellion group, right?
Yeah, it's the Enfys Nest shows up.
Enfys Nest,
like,
yes. Okay.
Boy.
I was like, wait, where are we? Where is it? Have they left No, we're okay. Yeah. That happened before the other thing happened.
So Empty Nest and the Cloud Riders show up, and it's like, this is like, again, you saw the shot in the trailer, but you get the Western vibe with like, they show the nice tight shot of like Han's holster, but instead of a shootout, they actually talk. And
bummer.
Yeah. And that, for me, this was a big surprise. I didn't see this coming. Empty Nest takes off her helmet, and she's
woman,
lady.
But she's like a girl. She's not even like.
Yeah, she's really young.
She's young.
She's a youngin, and
like really cool.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. Yeah. No. Really cool.
Like really cool.
Yeah, she looks cool. I mean, and the other one that I literally yelled in the theater. I said, 2 tubes. 2 Tubes is there. 2 Tubes is in Rogue One. He's part of Saw Gerrera's little group, and he makes an appearance. I was like, yeah. And then our good boy.
Was it him or somebody who looks just like him?
No, that's 2 Tubes, dude. Straight up.
Sweet.
Straight up 2 Tubes. And then Warwick Davis's character Weasel shows up, which is like he was in Phantom Menace, so that's kind of cool to see a little recurring character. That's kind of new for him. And basically, Effie's Nest says that, you know, she's taken over her mom's role, which I thought was kind of interesting too. Like, she's just kind of taking up the helm, and almost like the armor is more than, you know, it's like kind of like almost like a Boba Fett thing, where it's like the armor means more than the person inside it, almost, you know. So I thought that was cool. And Beckett's like, nah, I don't want this does not look good. So of course Voss is like right there, and Solo and Beckett talk, and they're like, yeah, this is not going to end well. And Beckett rides off or walks off to the sunset and says, "Hey, big shot gangster, I'm gonna go see someone on Tatooine." And that was kind of wink, wink, another wink, wink. Oh, Jabba the Hutt. But yeah, so he takes off, and now Han is kind of gonna help the Effie's Nest out and try to. This is where it gets a little confusing, kind of a lot of double crossing. So, yeah, so they're gonna go take the shipment to Voss, and Kira is kind of like, I don't know if this is such a good idea, you know. And of course, Han's like, don't worry, it's all gonna work out. So they go up, and this is where the plan is kind of unfoils. So, Aaron, what happened, man? What's going on here? What's your take?
It's a good old double crossing.
Double crossing?
Little switcheroo.
So yeah.
You ever watch The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly?
Uh-huh. Yep.
So there's some basically the gist of it is like they're after some Confederate gold, right?
Yeah.
And it's buried in this grave of this specific soldier's last name, and only one of the guys going after it knows the name.
Got it.
So it's like he keeps it to himself so that, you know, they can split it later. And I kind of got that same vibe where it's like, you don't know who you could trust. You don't know, you know, where's the gold? That keeps switching around, and it's like, you know, Han, you know, he gave the hyperfuel to Voss, but it turns out it's fake.
Voss is like, this is fake. Fake, man.
Yep. But Han did a pretty cool thing where he smuggled in his gun with the goods.
Yeah. Yeah. When he lifts the lid, you can see the gun. Nice touch.
Yeah, that's okay. So I was as much as I wanted this movie to be more Western throughout, it was good to see kind of little Western taste throughout this scene. So
Yeah.
stuff like that, hiding the gun,
Yep.
double crossing, Mexican standoffs, hiding your gun places, and
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's true. You
there's
know what?
enough
You're
there
true.
to
That's very
keep
true.
me happy.
Yeah. That's very true.
Mm-hmm.
So then Voss gets on the old comm, and he's like, "Hey, I want you to come up here because we're about really to take this down." And then who shows up? There. Did anyone like in your theater gasp? Like, I don't.
It's more like
I don't remember
Huh?
that. No.
Yeah. It's like, so basically Beckett shows up again. It's like, sorry, kid. Like, he just needs some money after he lost Val. Everything's going south. He's like, I know Voss, and I don't want to double cross him. And yeah, so then he takes. This is where, for me, this is kind of like where it slows down a minute, because like, so Chewie, he takes Chewie captive, and Chewie's like his pack mule, and he takes the coaxium. So he's walking. He's off walking. There's like no speeder or whatever,
Right.
And then, the other part was that there was another kind of cool part, is that when Voss's guys checked Effie's nest was the locals, and she comes in, does her little thing, bada bing, bada boom, they're all captured, and so now they got the drop on Voss between Kara and Solo are in there just with Voss. I thought that was a really cool scene as far as like fighting is concerned. I thought that was really well done. Just like Han jumping for the blaster, like it's a desperation move. There's no like real kind of grace. And honestly, this is like a bar fight, dude. This is straight up like tight quarters, and yeah. But then
sure.
Kira, you kind of get a feel like she kind of gets a jump on Han, and then Voss is like, yeah, that's my girl. And then she's like, I know your weakness, and boom, stabs him like a boss.
Oof.
Yeah.
Got him.
Got
Like
him
a
good.
boss.
Got him good. So, hooray, the heroes won, and there's some diamonds that Voss has or something, like, hey, we can still do this and get off the ship. And Kara says, you know what I was dreaming about? Smiling, So, she sends Han on his way, and this is where I just kind of, then, so he goes, okay, this is where I have a problem, because Beckett and Chewie have been walking for a little bit, right?
Yes.
And Han and Voss and Kira just had the fight, as we just explained.
Correct.
Han magically he gets in the Star Trek teleportation and transports himself in front of Beckett and Chewie. But there's no speeder anywhere to be seen. He just shows up. This is where
Maybe
I was
because
like,
he ran.
like the Flash or something.
Well, you said like Beckett and Chewie were walking.
Yeah.
They're
so Han
encumbered
just
by a
ran.
bunch of coaxium.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. They were just walking really slow. Really
Yep.
slow. This is where I was like, okay, so they're walking to the beach here, then they're walking over here. I'm like, dude, there are transports. You have transports. And then Han just shows up, and yeah, so they have a standoff, and Han shoots first. Here it is.
Which
He gets
seems unlikely. I'm just
did
kidding.
Yeah. I was like, I did the slow clap again. I was like, yeah, that's it right there.
Yep.
So he.
Well, you always want them to in movies. Like,
Yeah.
when the hero and villain always have a showdown, then they have each other at gunpoint. You're always like, just do it. What are you waiting for?
Yeah, and you have the talking villain, and you don't need the talking villain. And Beckett was. Beckett again. It's a classic Western. He's got the drop on his pistol, and Han doesn't even hesitate. And I think this is great. And then even Beckett's like, I would have shot you. So I thought that was cool. That was cool. I just didn't like the teleportation Han. I didn't like that part. So then, Kira makes a phone call.
A Skype call.
A little Skype call.
With the magic decoder ring. Beep.
Yep.
And so they kind of show... The reveal is cool. Basically, they kind of show a low shot, and then they kind of pan around, and it's a dark figure, and you're like, who is it? Who is it? And it's Maul. Darth Maul. Well, now he goes by Maul. What?
I may have gasped.
This is where you gasped. Yeah.
I was more like, really?
Yeah. All right. Let's go around the horn. Heather, did you like this? Did you like that they brought in Darth Maul?
I think I was so surprised. That's where the gasp was like, wait a minute, where did you come from? I know you from a completely different thing than the context I'm sitting in.
Yeah.
So that's ultimately where the gasp came from of like, I don't understand. My worlds are colliding, which I suppose is okay.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, when they ended Rogue One, they brought, Leia and Darth Vader back, which was possibly the best ending to a movie ever, for the record. Yeah, so I'm not upset by it.
Yeah,
but I hope it's going somewhere and not just this, hey, let's just bring somebody in to bring him in.
Yeah. Okay. Aaron, what's your thought on the big reveal?
I'm going to nitpick first.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Okay.
So throughout all of time.
Yes.
All
of time.
Star Wars holograms have been bluish.
Bluish.
Hues of blue.
And staticky.
He's all red.
No. He's blue, but his lightsaber is red.
And his face. So it's like, okay, is this like an advanced Skype call thing where it's like they pay extra for color, but it only sometimes works?
It's like caller ID.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing. Like, did he have to light up his lightsaber? Not really.
No.
But it's like almost like, guys, is this really Darth Maul? Yeah, look at my lightsaber. Yeah.
He's Darth Maul. He's got to have a double lightsaber. It's like, okay. We know who he is, but whatever.
So
stepping back from that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I had known in my limited knowledge of Clone Wars that he survived, and he had somehow fashioned himself a lower body and ended up fighting Obi-Wan. I had to have my brother Josh catch me up on the lore, but I was kind of surprised that they made the dip into that IP to bring back a character that, as far as the movies are all concerned, he's been long dead.
He dead.
So I felt like it raised more questions than answers, and I still don't like how the whole Kira character arc closed.
Yes.
We're not really given a good reason why she doesn't follow her heart and go after Han. So, and this just muddies the waters further,
Yeah, right. It's a deep cut. Like this is true. This is truly for the Star Wars people, because like the casual fan will be like, just like what you said, Aaron, that dude was cut in half. Well, he was cut in half, but his hatred kept him alive. He got spider legs, went to the Night Sisters, got some new legs, got a brother on the side. Yeah, it's very complicated. You got to watch Clone Wars. So there you go. And you caught up. And but this is a deep cut, and it basically legitimizes Clone Wars. And you basically take a character from cinema to animation back to cinema. So it's pretty epic from that. But like, I don't know if it's necessary. And to Heather's point, it's like, if there's not a payoff, then you're just bringing out a show pony and just showing him off like, hey, look at Darth Maul, it doesn't pay off, and I agree, like, and then going to Kira, and this is what I don't like, it's like, you were a slave to Voss and now you're going to be a slave to Maul, and you just don't want to hurt Han because he's a good guy. I don't know. Again, it goes back to what we said last episode. It's like Kira, if she's a femme fatale kind of character, then show me something that
Then
she's,
be it.
Be it. Yeah. Like, show me, besides killing Voss, like, and yelling and throwing napalm grenades, there's no other evidence that she's like this really bad mother character. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's where
I'm sure.
Oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sure one of our listeners out there is like, I foreknew that Darth Maul would be in this picture. And it's like, A, why didn't you call our voicemail and, left your prediction like we told you to? And B, shut up.
Hey, be nice to our listeners, man. Everyone, hey, we're respecting people here, man. We nothing but
audibletrial.com/WSTR.
Well, again, I wanted, I said I wanted Jabba, Fett, or Vader, and I got Maul. So I was definitely surprised, like gasp, like what? They're doing it, and they did. But again, for me, it's just the Kira payoff is just like, it doesn't pay off. It's like, okay, so now you're just what? Going into another, you're bound to another dude, and you almost get that Anakin thing, when he's on Mustafar, where he's like crying and he's like, I just killed a bunch of people and this is kind of where I'm going. And Kira kind of has that sad look, and Chewie puts his arm around Han. It's like, yep, your girl just dumped you, dude. But we bros, man. We bros. So
I got another problem with Kira.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Here we go.
So you look at her.
Yep.
You look at Rey.
Yep.
You look at Jin.
Yep.
They're all the same.
Oh my gosh.
They're all like, brown-haired white girls.
Uh-huh.
We're just flat and tasteless as cardboard. And it's like, why is this? It's like, why is this a recurring problem with the new Disney Star Wars movies? Like it's like the most cookie cutter character that they could go with, where it's like, she's been wounded in the past and she has no parents and she's got to make a life for herself. And then she doesn't make a life for herself. She just,
Yeah.
That is the Disney princess
it's just
way,
not
though.
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, get some new princesses, please.
Just say it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
At least Leia made something out of herself,
That is true. That's absolutely true. Yeah. Yeah. And Jin, I would say Jin's next better than Rey and better than Kira, That's how we go. But yeah, you're right. It's whatever. Okay, so now
it's like, give me Fruit Loops, not wheat bran.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
We'll go with that. We'll go with the cereal analogy. So now I don't know what this planet is. It's not Felucia, but it's some jungle planet. And Han and Chewie go find Mr. Lando. So Lando's doing his thing again, playing cards, sabak. And
Cheating.
Cheating.
Cheaters.
Yeah. They look like they're going to fight. Han does a little street trick and basically takes his card from his little hand, and they play a sabak game, and Han legitimately wins this time, not with Lando cheating, and he gets the Falcon back. Bada bing, bada boom. Hooray! Hooray! And kind of cool. And then the Quaxium went to Effie's nest to basically, this was a wink too, like, to start the rebellion, which I thought was interesting, to start some kind of rebellion. And, Han's like, I don't want any part of it. And Effie's nice. Well, maybe someday you'll be a leader, whatever that you are. And
wink, wink,
wink, wink,
nudge,
wink,
nudge.
wink, nudge, nudge, nudge. And Han and Chewie at the end go into hyperspace. End scene.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just go around the horn real quick. Like, Heather, how would you rate Solo
Hi.
overall? How would you rate it?
I really enjoyed it overall.
Yeah.
If I went in to see a Star Wars movie, I felt like I got that.
Yep.
If I sat and took the time to nitpick, yes, I could
Yeah.
find some of the things that
Of course.
I didn't like, because that's what happens when you have time. But overall, I enjoyed myself. I thought that Han was well done and not too Harrison Fordy.
Wow,
Like in the
it's a
sense that
verb.
the
It's a
actor
verb.
was trying too hard to be Harrison
Yeah.
Ford. Like he stood his own. I think Donald Glover killed it as Lando.
And you got a mad dog crush on him.
And I got a mad dog crush on him. So Donald, if you're listening, what's up?
What's up?
WSTR Media. All one word.
All lowercase. I'm the girl. Chewbacca. I mean, I think Chewbacca's introduction was spectacular. And I also want to say I think Voss's character, for being a last minute switch near the end, I think Paul Bettany did amazing. It's a shame he didn't make it to be a more developed villain, but that's okay. So is it my favorite movie? No. Is it my least favorite movie? No.
Is it above medium? Because I think you were like medium rare. I was like more medium. Aaron was like a little bit more medium rare. It's above medium.
I would say it's above medium for me.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I will watch it again. I will probably own it.
Of course you will.
All of the above.
Yes. Aaron, what's your thoughts? Final thoughts?
Well, Han, Chewie, and Lando all felt authentic.
Okay.
And that's
a big
probably
one. Yeah, that's a big one.
That's probably the bare minimum I would have asked of this movie. Generally, it just felt like a really enjoyable popcorn flick adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Not as good as, say, like Raiders of the Lost Ark, but I'd place it, I guess, in terms of feel and skill of the movie and rewatchability. I'd probably place it in the same area of Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay.
Sure.
The difference being Pirates of the Caribbean, created this entire world and mythos out of nothing except an amusement park ride.
Right.
Whereas, Solo is a slice out of the entire Star Wars saga. So take that for what you will. I didn't expect Paul Bettany to steal the show, but for me, I was really, really impressed with him and his portrayal as a villain. So mad props to him.
Mad props.
If anything, it's
Paul,
like,
if you're listening, WSTR Media, all lowercase.
We like that. No,
yeah, but it's like, okay. Those are probably the best parts of the film for me, besides, the more technical stuff like the cinematography and the costume work, which are quite superb.
Art direction.
Yep.
Yeah.
Downsides, L3, Kira.
Yep.
Man, even okay.
Uh-oh.
What? Uh-oh. No, this is a good thing. Like Woody Harrelson, like even he was really good. But then I started thinking back, like, when was the last time I saw Woody Harrelson in a movie, and I was like, oh man, he was not good in this movie. I don't think that's ever happened. It's always been like, oh, Woody Harrelson's in this movie. Oh, he was pretty good.
Yeah.
So even like bit parts,
I didn't
like
mind.
No Country for Old Men.
Yeah, I didn't mind his performance. I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, for
I
me,
guess if anything, it's like the movie. Sorry, last thoughts. It's like I guess if anything, the movie was just like, I know people were accusing it before it actually came out that it was going to be too safe and down the middle of the road and whatever, like a Ron Howard movie. And yeah, it turned out to be like that. But I guess they, they wouldn't pay an exorbitant amount of money to bring in Ron Howard and do a bunch of reshoots if the movie prior to that was going to be extremely good. They did that,
right?
If they're like, oh no, Canary in the Coal Mine is dead, like we're next. Let's fix this up. So
right, no, we don't know. We don't know what product he came in with or like what he had. And what we see, there's definitely some parts where it was Lord and Miller, and you definitely know. I mean, we know everything that's Voss is Ron Howard 100%. So but yeah, it definitely feels like there are some parts where, especially in the beginning, that definitely seems kind of Lord and Miller, and there's some other parts where like, yeah, that just seems somewhat a little out of place, but overall the pacing's pretty solid, and we don't know what Ron walked into, but we know that he shot a lot of that movie over. So yeah.
Well, the very fact that this is perhaps the most coherent and entertaining Disney Star Wars film yet. Mad props to you, Ronnie.
We're on a first name basis, Ronnie. WSTR.
Yeah. So if you're in town, WSTR Media. All one word, all
lowercase. For me, the highlight of this is Chewbacca. Jonas. I can't pronounce your last name. He stole the show for me. I thought it was excellent. I mean, again, that was one of my biggest disappointments in Last Jedi. Is like we got like 2 scenes with Chewbacca, and I did not like that. And we got to see a lot more of Chewie in action, and I really thought he brought it. So, and to your point, Aaron, like the big ones, Chewbacca, Lando, and Han, I felt like all of them nailed it. Yeah, I thought it was entertaining. I again, like I said in part 1, I just don't understand why people are not going to see this movie, and it's fun. It's a fun movie. It's a new Star Wars. Like, guys, we're getting new Star Wars. It doesn't matter. Like, go see.
I think it's too soon.
Yeah.
After after Last Jedi, it's like, I wish they would have pushed it back to December, because then it gives us a little bit more time to decompress, kind of forget about The Last Jedi a bit, and then be like, oh, new Star Wars is coming up. Yeah. But it's like, as soon as it was out of theaters, they were like, oh yeah, new Star Wars in 2 months. Yeah. Wait, what?
Right.
So
probably, it's 161 days of we didn't know that we wanted it that soon, so. Yeah.
So I feel like they hamstringed themselves a bit.
Yeah.
By plus they didn't have to release in May. That's the thing. It's like, why?
I'm going to be like so lost in December, because I love taking off and have an excuse to go see a Star Wars film when it's like snowing out and all that stuff. But probably just have to watch it on Blu-ray when it comes out or whatever.
Just going to have to sit tight till episode 9.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, why don't we go?
They start filming like tomorrow?
Episode 9 is filming probably starting next month.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. All right, why don't we go? We got a couple user reviews, so let's go through those real quick. All right, from the Twitter, Docking Bay 94, Kayvon MC, he says it was an absolute blast, so much fun, and connected so many storylines together, plus perfect casting of young characters. Of course, I had to ask a follow-up question. I said, "What was your favorite part?" He said, "That's a tough one. After only one viewing, I say my favorites are Han, Free and Chewie, and the Kessel Run." Well said there, Docking Bay 94. Emily Jane said, "I've seen it yesterday. Good movie, but not a Star Wars movie. Crying, sad face." So then I asked, what was going on? And it didn't make me dream. The characters didn't have enough personality for me. It's not enough a good special effect and some part of the original soundtrack. Sorry. So there you go.
I'd like to add on to that.
Yes.
And I've been thinking about this for a while, like what makes a good movie, what makes a great
solid
movie.
2 weeks. Yeah.
Well, I think what makes a disappointing movie is when the whole is less than the sum of its parts. And I think a lot of people make that argument about The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
I think a good movie, it's like the whole is equal to the sum of its parts, where it's like, yeah, each part was good and it all built up and it was all good. I feel like that's kind of where Solo lands. But what a great movie is, it's like the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And it's like, it's got that polish and that magical spark that you can't really explain, but it just carries you away somewhere where it really has no right to carry you, but you're glad that it did.
Right.
And I really feel that the original Star Wars trilogy had a lot of that.
I was going to say, it's pretty much Star Wars. Like, all right, you got 2 talking robots, a walking carpet, and, a couple humans, and like, this thing is magical. It just works. Like, it shouldn't work, but it works. It's
shouldn't, but it does.
It doesn't, yeah.
And it's like trying to explain that, like, how can you do that? It's like catching lightning.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Me and my buddies were talking about this over the weekend too, and my buddy Micah said this, and it's pretty prevalent. It's like when an artist has constraints, sometimes that's better. So like when George had constraints and he wasn't really happy with how Star Wars turns out, it actually turned out pretty well. And then when he had all the special effects and the whole, he could do whatever he wants, it lost some of that constraints because he could do anything he wanted, and it doesn't have that, like, I had to do this, but I didn't like it, but it still kind of worked out. It like kind of loses that creative vibe, and I thought that was pretty well said. It's like, yeah, I mean, I think Solo at the same time, there's the train moves forward. Like, you would get to the end of the station, and there's really some good parts, but like there are some train cars that don't quite make it, kind of like the Coaxium train heist thing. So, yeah. All right.
Sorry, Emily.
Yeah. We win some, lose some. Robbie Don Marr says, absolutely awesome. As for big spoiler, oh my gosh. Yeah, so that was cool. Facebook, Frank Jarzambek. Yeah, Jarzambek. Thank
Sounds
you.
right.
Harrison Ford should have at least had a cameo in this. Will not watch. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah, I mean,
man, how do you know he's gonna? How do you know he doesn't have a cameo in it?
Because
he's not gonna watch it.
He read his phone and looked at all the clickbait, and it wasn't there.
Frank.
Joe Harris Jr. I seen Solo last night. It was good. Ron Howard saved what could have been a disaster. Yep. Kim Thompson, awesome movie. Marcus Garcia, great movie. I will see it again. Cyrus, help me out here, Aaron.
Purveyor?
Yeah.
Purveyor?
Just got back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just got back. Definitely could have, should have been better. Knowing what Ron Howard walked into, though, he did good for what he had. John, JT, Bramham. I was pleasantly surprised. Yeah. Mike Jackwee. Wonderful film. No deep story like the various trilogies, just a simple storyline with good action and nods to the OT, PT, EU. Reminded me of the Brian Daley Han Solo and Lando Calrissian books.
It's Han.
No, it's Han.
It's Han. Lando.
It's Lando.
Lando. So yeah, thanks for all those comments on the Facebooks and the Twitter. So there you go. All right, moving on to news of the week.
And now, the Star Wars news of the week.
All right, so first up, box office sales. So first week it made 84 million, and then just this next week, only 29 mil. What say you, Aaron?
Well, kind of what I said earlier in that I think it's just a glut of Star Wars. It was released way too soon to The Last Jedi. And, as as many people had a distaste for it, I think that distaste carried over to their impressions of Solo.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like, Solo, how about So No? And they didn't go. They're like, Solo, more like no go.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That's my theory, at least. But it's not helping any that it's not a smash them out of the park success of a film.
Is it because we know too much about what happened in the background?
Perhaps. I don't know if that's immediately obvious, but
yeah. I mean, again, a person that would know that would be a definitely a diehard Star Wars fan, and those are the ones that would go see it first week. And just because The Last Jedi and now just the troubles, like maybe they're like, I don't know. It's just a weird, fickle beast.
Well, it also just came off the release of Avengers and Deadpool 2, and it was a holiday weekend.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of factors, I think.
Yeah. I
should have just waited.
It should have waited.
You're just saying December. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Give old Ronnie time to polish it up a bit more. Who knows?
Yeah. I saw
you
this
can do a lot in 6 months.
Yeah. I saw this really cool meme today. Like to Star Wars fans saying, like what would you want? And then it's like it's too familiar, like Force Awakens, and then Last Jedi is like too extreme, and then Solo like too safe. And it's like, well, what do you want? It's like
you have a good point.
Yeah.
Star Wars fans are very difficult to please.
Yeah. So, and then next up, Colin Trevorrow has spoken since his departure from Lucasfilm way back. Ooh. So September 2017, so long ago. He finally discussed in a recent interview, and it says, I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want to affect the way the fans get to see these films. When we were kids, these movies came to us from far away. They were a gift. And the more we talk about how they're made, the more it reveals they're just movies. But they're just not movies. They're more than that. Beyond that, I got the opportunity to tell a story that is a celebration of everything I believe in. And I got to tell it to George Lucas, and I got to tell it to Luke Skywalker. And those are experiences I will cherish for the rest of my life. End quotes. So he pretty much...
Strangely, really optimistic.
Yeah. And I mean, basically he's saying, I got to tell my story, my take of it to George Lucas and Mark Hamill, and that's all that matters. But it's so true. And just what we touched upon, because we have so much knowledge now, again, when we were kids, when we just showed up to movies, when we see a trailer, we're like, we didn't even know this was coming, and now it's here. And now it's like the trailer's a big thing. We know, again, we all know when it's going to, when episode 9 is going to start filming. There's a lot of knowledge that we didn't know back in the day before the internets. So, yeah. But yeah, so I thought that was pretty interesting. Again, maybe that will come out sometime where we know his version of episode 9, but there was that one, this was a while back, and we talked about it too, where they were at some SNL thing, and Daisy Ridley was there, and Colin Trevorrow was there as well, and she basically asked him what happened, and she started crying or whatever. So we'll never know his version, but maybe someday. All right, moving on to Katina Chat. Well, Heather, what did you do this weekend?
Oh, nothing much. Outside of driving down to Joliet, Illinois for Joliet Star Wars Day.
What?
So
was fun had?
Fun was had. I hugged an Ewok.
Oh,
And I hugged a Jawa.
a full size
A full size one, yeah.
with
Apparently
a pot with a pot belly.
With a pot belly. He was taller than I was, so that made me feel short.
Yeah.
But yeah, hung out with a Jawa. That was pretty exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Saw a tank.
Not
it was really good.
Yeah. Rogue
yeah.
One tank? Yeah.
Maybe. But yeah, so I got a lot of great photos. So I'm getting them all figured out, and I will bribe the boys and get them up maybe on some STR. What are we? WSTR media, social medias.
What are we? Who are we?
I don't know. There are so many letters.
I know. Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I kind of did the same thing. I was also at Joliet Star Wars Days, and I got the troop for like ever, and it was fantastic. And they had a little parade, and I got to walk next to a Rogue One tank, and it was the bee's knees, man. That's all I gotta say. It was the bee's knees.
The bee's knees.
I mean, they had the American Legion marching band, and they're playing Star Wars and Imperial March, and I'm marching next to a Rogue One tank. I can't even tell you how awesome that was. It's a lot of fun. And I got to see you, Heather, so that was cool. And
was fun.
My family was there.
And
I
brought my friend Deb.
Yes.
For the first time, and she had a blast. I remember she was just geeking out about everything, and then all of a sudden, the Tusken Raiders came around the corner, and she literally hit me, and she's like, "They're walking in single file! They're walking in single file!"
To hide their numbers. We learned something from Obi-Wan every time. Yes, yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Shout out to Deb.
I was just gonna say. When did you notice when they were walking that they all walked in single file? And I was like, it was pretty awesome. So
it was pretty great.
Yeah. So that was definitely some geekiness of the week for sure. Aaron, we missed out. You had a wedding to attend, but that's okay. That's good.
Nothing important.
Just friends getting married. No big deal.
Congratulations, Ruben and Hope.
Yeah. Oh, congrats.
Yes.
So
it was a beautiful wedding, but far away and at the same time as Joliet Library Day. So sorry.
All right. Yeah. That's okay. Anything geeky there, Mr. Aaron?
Well, I was almost going to go like 0 for 2 here on Star Wars stuff, but
yeah.
Literally right as we were about to begin today's podcast, my brother comes bursting into my room holding a copy of the Star Wars Destiny game from Fantasy Flight Games. So it appears to be a kind of like a dice battle game featuring different characters from the Star Wars realm, and the particular version that he got seems to include Captain Phasma, Kylo Ren, Rey, and Finn, I believe.
Okay.
I don't know any much more about this except there's probably some mechanics where you've got your character, and then you've got upgrades that you could choose from and different abilities, all that affect your dice rolls. And
nice.
Use that to just kind of try to beat the other opponent. So
dude, that
probably when I have some free time this week, I'll have to play a couple games with them, and I will report back.
Oh, we will hold you to it. Literally, you better have something good next week. No pressure.
Oh,
no
thanks,
pressure.
Josh, for saving the day.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, Aaron, you want to wrap us up?
I think I do. But will I?
I don't know.
Okay. Thanks again for listening to another episode of WSTR Galactic Public Access, a Star Wars podcast. Once again, check us out on social media, WSTR Media, all one word, all lowercase. Paul Bettany, please. We want to hear from you.
Ronnie, if you're out there. We'll even
and we want to hear from you.
We'll even take
listeners.
Clint Howard. We'll take Clint Howard.
Please. Well, yeah. We'll take budget Howard.
Yeah.
So, Paul Bettany, Ron Howard, Clint Howard. We want to hear from you, but we also want to hear from you, our faithful listeners.
Yeah.
Please. So comment, tweet, rate us on iTunes, email us at mailbox@wstrmedia.com. Leave us a voicemail at 630-557-WSTR, 630-557-9787. Lots of sevens. That way you can leave a voicemail and we'll play it on an upcoming podcast. You can catch our entire back catalog of episodes at www.wstrmedia.com. And hey, we've got some reviews here that we'd like to read back to you. Over on iTunes, Bobby Youngstown says, 5 stars. Can't say enough. This has been my go-to Star Wars podcast for some time. It's plain fun. A definite must listen for any Star Wars fan. Thank you, Bobby Youngstown.
Yeah, thank you, Bobby Youngstown. We'll keep it up.
Mandalay gave us a 5 stars and said the best. Can't beat this podcast. I love how they enjoy everything Star Wars and are sensible about their approach. Well, thank you, Mandalay. That's very kind of you.
We try to be sensible, right?
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
Way over in YouTube land.
Oh, my goodness.
Stephen Lamson says, love the podcast. Always good and fun discussions. Never too dry. And a lot of diversity in the topics. It's not just the movies, but the games and TV shows and other Star Wars content. Keep up the awesome work. Well, Stephen Lamson.
Thank you.
Whatever work you do, keep it up. Mr. Josh Austin says, that's no moon. It's my favorite Star Wars podcast.
What?
Hashtag the nerd is strong with this one.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, thank you very much, Josh.
Josh, not only is that a nerdy hashtag, it's using some Star Wars lines there, and that was good. That was good. I like it.
Fun fact, Josh is part of my Star Wars RPG group back at campus.
Oh, there we go. Thank you, Josh.
So
Aaron has a friend.
We'll have to square up once I'm back. Imagine that.
Yeah, Aaron has a friend, and he committed electronically online. That's fantastic.
Last but certainly not least, Mr. Matthew Swartstrom says, really enjoyed listening to the podcast. Heather's comment about Han and Chewie being the greatest romance ever made me laugh out loud. Good stuff. Looking forward to the next one to hear your thoughts on Solo. Well,
thanks,
you
Matt.
just did.
You just did. We got Heather, you have a listener that laughed out loud. That's fantastic.
It's true. Now I know Matt. I work with his wife. I was in their wedding, so
another plug.
It's all inside baseball.
Yeah. Hey man, whatever gets us around the bases, we're good to go, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
But
that's awesome.
Thank you sincerely for your thoughts, for your comments, for your reviews. And now, all of you know all the ways to get a hold of us.
That's true.
Next week, we'll be cracking open some Han Solo Easter eggs and frying up a tasty omelet.
I literally tried very hard this time. I don't think I said anything. The tip of the hats might have been some Easter eggs, but overall,
we'll let it slide.
Yeah. Next, I'm looking forward to next week because there's a lot of deep cuts. There's a lot of deep cuts in this one for Solo, there's Easter eggs aplenty. And not just Star Wars Easter eggs either. I'll just put it at that. There's a couple. I'm going to name. There's an Indiana Jones one.
Don't tell them yet.
Well, this is like,
save it for the podcast.
And Back to the Future. There's a Back to the Future ride. Okay, I'm done.
You cannot wait. You cannot wait till next week.
I can't.
Oh man. Well, I guess that's it. So. Now we got to wrap up this episode the only way we know how. Now this
This
is podcasting.
I love those Easter eggs.
Ron Howard, you saved the day.
Ronnie, we love you, man.